So today is a pretty significant day in America. Earlier today, the United States Supreme Court legalized, is the term they used, gay marriage. And, you know, living in the world that we live in today, I immediately took to Twitter, see what people were saying. And the first thing that I read was a tweet from a person whom I know personally, and it kind of didn't sit well with me. His tweet read, "Marriage is the holy matrimony between a man and a woman. How can you call it marriage when it isn't even the definition?" So what he means by that is that, you know, gay marriage is not marriage because it is not between a man and a woman. And I was like, well, that doesn't really seem right. So I took to dictionary.com and I typed in marriage, and lo and behold, the definition, which was long and had a lot of big words in it, but ultimately in the end, it doesn't matter if it's between a man and a woman, two men, two women. It's a legalizing bond of two people, and that's what marriage is. Now, he responded with something that I respect, and he said, well, that's not how it is in the Bible. And I was like, well, yes, this is true. The Bible also tells you that if you wear more than two different types of cloth, that you should be burned. It says that if you work on a Sunday, you shall be killed or arrested. I mean, it's full of, you know, things that are said but are not taken literally, and should not be taken literally, because every one of those things in today's society would be frowned on if you burned someone for wearing two different kinds of clothing, like two different threads, like polyester and cotton. Like, I'm wearing two different kinds of threads right now, and I'm not on fire. Now, my response to that was, the world's view is not the Bible. Yes, Christianity, I think, is the largest religion in the world, but there's still other religions out there that have different scriptures they use, have different beliefs than Christianity. Like I think Hindu or Buddhism has hundreds of gods, and in our Bible it says, thou shalt not have more than one God, or something along those lines. I'm not a Bible expert, I don't know the exact verses. So there's contradictions all throughout the world. And his initial comment that it wasn't marriage kind of annoyed me because of one thing. One, I know this person is 18 years old, and in my mind, he's closed-minded. It's his belief, and I respect his belief, but I feel that he is closed-minded in that belief. To be raised in this day and age with that mindset it's now not the norm. Back in the day, you know, being against gay marriage and being against gays in general was the norm. Today, no, that's not how today's society functions anymore. He didn't have the right facts. His facts weren't right. He wanted to base it solely off the Bible. I'm fairly confident the Supreme Court, despite this being America, did not go off the sayings of the Bible when making this decision. Because if this entire country was run based on the Bible, then it wouldn't be the country it is. I believe the Supreme Court based this decision off of the world's view and what was happening in America with this, you know, I almost said uprising. It's not an uprising. An uprising is bad. This realization that being gay is slowly becoming acceptable. More and more each year, it is becoming acceptable. And this is a huge step in the right direction for everyone, for gay marriage. For the LGBT community, this is their biggest victory to date. It is just so profound that there was something this progressive done by this government. This is going to go down in history as one of it's not right now, not tomorrow, but in the history books of the future, this will be put in there as a couple pages. But still, it is just so great that this has happened. Now, personally, I'm not gay, but I do respect gay people, and like one of my best friends says, I respect your beliefs, but don't shove them down my throat. And that is how I am. I respect you being gay. You do what you want to do, and I'll have no problem with it. And I mean, it's really easy that way. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I have friends that are in the LGBT community, and several of them are very close friends of mine. And, you know, I'd support them like I'd support any of my friends. Because I know they're not the kind of people that are going to go out and bring a bad name to anything they believe in. And there are people out there like that. And that is why most groups have bad reputations. And that's unavoidable in this world. And another reason that his tweet kind of struck a chord with me was it seemed like in the replies that he made to me, which I'm not going to go in depth to because I don't know them, and he proceeded to, I assume, block me on Twitter. That's all right. It seemed like he didn't want to accept change. And change is difficult, change is weird, but you have to accept change in this world. We are at a time in history where nothing stays the same for very long. There's new technology coming out, new medical advances, new safety advances, new weapon advancements, new enemies arise, or old enemies fall. everything is changing, and we can't do anything about it. Things are going to happen, and we just have to accept that. Otherwise, if you just kind of stick around, before long you're going to get left behind. And the people that get left behind, they are the closed-minded people of the world. The ones who can't accept change, don't want to accept change, think things should be the way that they've always been. And there are some things that shouldn't change, and there are some things that should. Now, I don't know how people are going to respond to this video if people ever see it, but I just want whoever watches this video, if you've made it this far, that the community of LGBT, they're people too. They are humans. And one of my biggest influence in my life is one of my coaches from a couple years ago. And he recently told me humans should be treated as humans. And we're getting to this point in the world. There's always going to be equality issues. There's always going to be racial hate. There's always going to be sexual hate. And that is just something that we're going to have to accept and cross that bridge when we come to it. Humans are humans. They should be treated like anyone else. They should be treated how you treat your mother, how you treat your father, how you treat your little sister or your big brother, how you treat your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your best friends in the world, even how you treat your worst enemy. Because I know most of us wouldn't be the kind of people to go out and commit a senseless act of violence and take someone's life. There are people that would do that in this world, and you gotta accept that too. But there is good in everybody. At one point in everybody's life, you were an infant. You couldn't even hold yourself up. You couldn't stand on your own. You needed someone's help. And we all need each other's help every day to get past the barriers that come up from sexual differences, racial differences, ethnic differences, religious differences. It all comes back to us. It is our job to make the world a better place, to make the world a safer place, a more acceptable place. A baby is born into this world not knowing anything about anyone, any religion, any sexuality, or anything. They don't know anything. They know what they're taught. It all comes back to us, this generation of kids who are just turning into adults in these couple of years. That includes me. You need to be progressive. You need to take charge. You need to change the world. Because if you want your children to grow up in a world where cops are shooting everyone is shooting cops, do we want to go back to segregation? I don't want to. I don't want to go back to a time where the LGBT community was shunned and they were not accepted. They were feared because they were different. They weren't the norm. I want the world that my kids live in. I want that world to be a world of acceptance, where they accept anyone for anything, no matter what. And I can't do that myself. You can't do that yourself. We have to work together. I really hope that you've made it this far in this video, because it's really touching to me about how many people are very happy about this, and it's very sad to me how many people are not. This is making the world that we live in a better place. And I want it to stay that way. I want it to keep getting better, because there's going to be people that are going to live past us. There's going to be people that, you know, grow up in the world that we make. And that is what it has to be. We have to make the world that we want everybody else to live in, because this is the world we live in. We live in this world of racial hate, of sexual hate, of ethnic hate, religious hate. We live in that world, and there's nothing we can do about it. It's too late for us. We can only start changing the world for the rest of the generations to come. I guess that's all I have to say right now. Just one more thing. Share this video with people that you think need it in their life. I don't know what this video means. I just strapped the camera to my window and started talking about something that hit home with me. And I hope this video reaches people that need it for whatever reason. Whatever reason you can take from this video, please share it with them. Tell them to share it with people who need it. And just keep sharing and sharing and sharing. Thank you.